guys, happy Wednesday. Let's see, I'm gonna wait on Ashley to join us. Today we're gonna be talking to Ashley Lebeau and just hearing about her journey as a photographer. There she is.
Say.
Hey Ashley!
Hi.
How are you?
Good. We're going to have some quiet time. The 3-year-old's not here.
All good, and even if he was, it'd be totally fine. It's real life. So thanks so much for joining us today and sharing your story. My hope with these, I don't know if you call them interviews or whatever you guys want to call them, is that people get inspired, they get motivated, they realize that this is a journey and that we can kind of, help support them and motivate them by sharing stories of, our journey. So I really appreciate you hopping on here. I know you said you were a little nervous, but
Little.
yeah, but I was like, it's okay to be nervous. That's just real life. So, so kind of just to start out, tell us a little bit about you. Where did you grow up? Kind of your backstory a little bit.
Sure. I'm in Massachusetts. I actually grew up in a larger town in Chicopee. Now I've lived there pretty much my whole life until about 1.5 years ago. We moved to Belchertown. So I have a studio right now in Chicopee. And then I have, when we bought our house in Belchertown, I got this. So we have another studio in Belchertown now also.
Awesome. Awesome. So kind of tell me, when did you first fall in love with photography? When did you first get your first camera?
When my daughter was born. So we are looking back, she's going to be 6 tomorrow. Like,
oh, wow.
With that. But I know. But yes, definitely started then. I didn't do newborn pictures, and it's something that I regretted. So it was definitely the jump start then. So it's been going since then. And snowballing, boudoir started a little over 3 years ago. And it was just something, I'm going to try. See how it goes. I didn't know if I would love it or hate it. First time is like, you might as well call it a drug for me, because I'll take it. And it's like, it's a high for me to see these women be like, holy crap, like, that's me. And you're like, yeah, that's what we see. I don't know why you don't see it, but that's what we see. So that's definitely where I started and snowballed to where I am now.
Yeah. So kind of let's backtrack a little bit. You first, you had your daughter and you didn't get newborn pictures. So kind of what made you buy a camera and start taking pictures?
I wanted to be able to get things all the time. Children grow so quickly. And with her, I did a picture a day.
Okay.
So for quite a while, she has a picture a day for her life.
Oh, I love
and that's, I had a son, and unfortunately, I didn't do as much with him. He probably has a few a week, but not every day. But yeah, it definitely started there, and it started with bringing friends in who had kids. Okay. And at that point, we had a dining room where we took out the table, and it became like a small home studio. So I set things up there. I started very, very low key, like Joann's Fabrics backdrops, low key, and worked my way up. So, I mean, I started at literally doing friends for like $50, just so that I could learn the camera and learn what it could do. I didn't even start real camera, to say, it's probably bad now, but to say then. Point and shoot was a start camera for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's where anybody else started, but yes, that's where I started.
So you're self-taught?
Yes. Lots of online things, but not actual college.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I think a lot of people can relate to that, and I want them to know that you don't necessarily have to go to college to learn photography in order to have a successful photography business. So that's great. So when did you decide that you wanted to really make an income from your photography?
I was a full-time manager for CVS, and I don't know if anybody here has ever worked for CVS, but you do days, nights, weekends, holidays. CVS is 365. They don't close. So I worked every single Christmas until last Christmas. And it just got to the point where it's like, this is your family. Your kids are growing, and like I said, they grow fast. and I missed so many things that it was just, I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. And it was kind of like an all or nothing kind of moment. Do you want to be home with your kids, or do you want to be, in the corporate world and working 1,000,000 hours a week?
Mm-hmm.
And I made a choice, and I started busting butt.
Yeah. So you obviously came to a moment where you're like, okay, I have to make a decision, and I have to really, go for it. So what did you do next?
I think the boudoir was actually the big start for me, because at that point I realized I'm not playing around. I need a studio.
Yeah.
So I had to get out of my house. I can't bring naked ladies in my dining room. It doesn't work that way. So definitely got a studio. We got lucky here, and I got an old mill that was right down the road at the time, 900 square feet. It's like, looking now, it's dirt cheap because it just sold, and now I have to start looking for another place.
Yeah.
So looking back, yeah, dirt cheap. But taking classes to learn about pricing was a big thing, and I still don't think I'm where I probably should be, but maybe that's another talk for another day with you.
Yeah.
But that was definitely a learn as you grow also. I started on a cheaper side, but it seemed expensive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more I grew, things got bigger and prices changed. And then I realized, I can make a living off this.
Yeah.
So that's when it got serious. I have the studio, I make enough money at CVS that I was perfectly fine. But looking back, I was like, how much money am I taking in on the business side? Do I really need that? So that's when I started realizing I can do this.
Yeah. So what is your ultimate goal, or what was your ultimate goal? Is your ultimate goal to quit the full-time job, or to go part-time? Or you said you said you had your first Christmas off last year, so I'm curious how that happened.
We were able to crunch numbers last year, and for the first time I've been at CVS for 10 years next month. So last September, I was able to say I was done being a manager. I didn't want to do it anymore, and I stepped down. So now I only do about 2 days a week. And in all honesty, I really don't need it, but it's my comfort zone, I guess, after so many years. So I call it my play money. So whatever money I make from that is play money to play with the kids.
Okay, so now you make your full-time income from photography.
Yes.
Awesome. That's fantastic. How has that changed, family dynamic, how you feel, how has that changed your life?
I love it because I can spend so much more time with my son. I know when I talked to you in the beginning, I said I felt horrible because I felt like I missed the boat with my daughter because she started kindergarten this year. But I do anything I can with her, and knowing that summer's coming and she gets her time off, now it's mom time. So definitely more time with kids. You're there for holidays. You're there for birthday parties. All these things that I couldn't do before because I was mandated to work certain days of the week and certain amount of weekends and the holidays and all that. So being able to just be there with family was always the number one and where I wanted to be. So that's a big thing for me now. Yeah,
I think a lot of people, we say we want to make a full-time income or we want to make all this money, but ultimately it's not the money that we want. We want the freedom that the money allows in order to do the things that we actually really want to do, whether that's, pay down debt, whether that's spend more time with family, whether that's be at our kids' school functions, whether that's, having Christmas off. I mean, that's a big deal. Yeah. So that's a huge win. That's amazing. And to go
it sounds, for you guys, it sounds normal. Christmas is Christmas for you guys. Christmas was always a working day for me. So for me to be it's the first time in 9 years I didn't work Christmas, that was huge for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. So was there any struggle, stepping down from that management position from full-time to 2 days a week?
Of course, there's always going to be. There's always scary jumps. It definitely was a scary jump. What if, you don't get all these bookings next month? Or what if, whatever, God forbid, something happened and you don't do that? What is the backup plan? So backup plans and having plans for me is huge. Big one on writing things down. So, okay, how much money do we have and how much do I need to make things work where we're still comfortable and living the lifestyle that we live? And that was a big starting point. So everything was, you know, write it all down. Where are we comfortable? What do I need? So when I started with you, it was, you know, where were you and where are you now? Mm-hmm. So when I was at CVS, I was maybe 3, 4, if I was lucky, sessions a month before I had to step out. And not being there now, I had done paperwork with you on 5 sessions a month to reach a gross of, I was guessing, $75,000 a year. Well, now I'm at 8 sessions a month, and the ceiling is wherever the ceiling lands.
I love that. That's amazing. What do you feel like was the biggest, like, help? Like, what do you feel like the steps were that you took that have gotten you to where you're at?
I tell my husband all the time, you are the biggest. You are. No, I'll toot your horn all day long. I don't care.
Well,
you are the biggest change that I've had.
But yeah, definitely finding someone. Yeah. I won't
lie. I don't care. I tell people all the time. So getting on Google was the biggest thing I could have done. I do have a private Facebook page. I know people talk about that. And yes, that helps. But I've always had a private Facebook page. So to take the jump that I did, the only thing that really changed was Google. Mm-hmm. So I looked at my statistics last night just so that I would have them for you. Mm-hmm. I started the end of February when I finished everything with you. And I've had 11, which isn't huge for me yet, but I understand whatever I'm growing. But I've had 11 from the end of February till now that I've converted just from Google. Mm-hmm. So I'll take 11 if that's where I start, and then everything else that rolls in from the private group, or I even think the conversion might be off a little because when I go through and look at contacts, I've had 34 contacts since the end of February.
The Google conversion tracking is good, but when they've been switching between what their version is now to trying this new beta, and we've been watching, and there's definitely some hiccups in between the conversion rate, because what the conversion rate is and like conversions tracking, and then how many inquiries are actually coming in from it. If you ask people, it's definitely been a little not exactly right. So so 30, 34, you said 37?
Yeah, I had 34. I've actually been saving the contacts just so that I can count them in a month. Mm-hmm. And yes, since the end of February, I've had 34 contacts that have come in through my website. Awesome. So that's a huge jump for me there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So, and we redid your website a little bit too. Yeah.
And that's always like an ongoing thing. So I feel like it's never going to be perfect. I went in the other day and I changed out some photos again because now I think even as a photographer, you're always growing and you're always learning. So now I'm trying to play with light a little more. So now I'm like, oh, well, I need to go in and add some of these new photos. And it's always going.
Yeah. So the dark suburb, AK or night? I don't even know how to say it.
Where am I?
What city do you work in?
I have Chicopee and Belchertown, Massachusetts. I have 2 different studios.
Yeah. And what's the population?
Chicopee is big, but on the other end of it, they're lower in how much they make. Belchertown is more middle class, but there's less of us. Sorry. Yeah. Coming soon, possibly, as I'm looking at it, and I just found out that mill sold. Myself and my husband found an 1884 house that they're converting in Longmeadow.
Oh, fun.
Which is huge here. And I just told somebody, for people who don't know what Longmeadow is, that's like the highest class around here. And I said, the only place I know that they talk about it is if anybody who watches The Voice, there's a girl on there from Longmeadow that's doing amazing apparently. And her father owns like Audi, Porsche, yada, yada, yada place around here. So they're definitely higher class, but we'll see where that's to come in the future. But to think about being in an 1884 amazingly gorgeous house is like,
yeah, that's awesome. So you got the system completely set up at the end of February. So about 34 contacts. So divide that by like what, two months. So it's about 15. Yeah. It's about 15 a month, and then we can say fours from here. So Katerina was asking, how many shoots have you actually booked since the end of February?
Oh gosh, I don't have an exact number, but like I said, my amount has gone up greatly. So this month I actually have 10 sessions booked in, which I won't do again because that was a bad idea. It was a bad idea, yes. Next month I already have 8 booked in, with a 9th that is looking to jump in at the end of the month, but she hasn't booked yet. So we have to do her consultation. I do in-person consultations, so she is in the works to come in, and I've already shut off June, so I'm already on to July.
That's amazing. So when we first sat down and chatted before you came into the program, you were getting what, like 1 to 2 shoots a month?
I was tops 3, 4 if I was lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, my norm was around 3.
Yeah. And now you've got like 8 to 10, and
you're
booking out months in advance. How does that feel like?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I've never, and I had learned from somebody to put on your private group or wherever, like sold out. So for me, I have sold out every month since February. And when I say sold out, I keep upping the number every month. So
sold out plus sold out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have May like overbooked, but I love you ladies.
Yes. Right. No, you're in the, you've gone from the not having enough bookings to almost having too much bookings to at one point you're going to figure out that you love what you do. And I've been in this situation, and you overbook yourself, but then you realize that you start to suffer yourself because you're overbooking yourself and you can't bring as much. So I'm sure you'll discover that and figure out how to, balance back out. But it's definitely, when you start to overbook, you can start to feel that
stress
work.
Yes. That's why, like, 8 is probably my sweet spot, I think. But yeah, I like next week I have 4 in 3 days, which for me is big, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. It just was an oops. Like, people needed it, and I'm like, okay, I'm bad at saying no. Yeah, that's probably my own problem. But
I think probably all of us artists are that way. I think we all have that common, like, we love to make people happy and feel beautiful. Like, whether that's with boudoir or families or newborns, we love to be able to do that, and saying no is so hard for sure.
Yes.
So I'm trying to think. So you're on track to sounds like you're on track to make 6 figures this year.
I'm hoping, and on a side note, not that everybody wants to know this, but my husband made a bet with me that if I can hit 6 figures, which he doesn't think I'll do, he will run around the backyard naked. I told him, game on. Like, I will take that bet.
That's amazing. Which leads me to another question. Like, when you feel the pressures of business and everything, what helps keep you motivated? What helps keep you going and pushing forward?
I'm driven by nature. I've always been one that I'm a pusher. I've always done a million jobs, which is bad, but I want to make it, and I want to make my kids' life good, and I want to be able to give them what they want. So I do whatever I can to make sure that, I can do what I can do here, and make sure that their days off are fun, and we can do whatever we need to do, have fun, go to the zoo, whatever. But in order to do that, I have to make this work too. So it's definitely a drive to have children and want what you want.
That's awesome. So when, do you have anything else that you want to add or share before I ask this last question?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Let the drive run, you guys. Like, seriously, we all love this for a reason, and it's hard work. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I sit here all day and, don't do anything. Like, it's rough. I'm always on the website. Like I said, I'm always updating. I'm in the private group talking to ladies, or, posting pictures of what's going on. So it's definitely a lot of hard work, but if you want it, you can get there.
What do you think that the number one thing is, that if somebody's like in that situation, whether it's a full-time job trying to make photography full-time, or they're, maybe they aren't working a full-time job, but they're just not getting to where they want to go. What do you think for yourself, what would be the number one piece of advice that you would have for them?
If they can get themselves on Google, I really think that was a huge difference for me. It's what catapulted me to where I am right now. Like, before I was on there, I was getting an inquiry maybe a couple times a month if I was lucky. And now to see when it's like, oh, hey, another inquiry. Like, yeah, that happened again.
So you're going to sit back and get inquiries coming in versus having to go out and chase them.
Yes, definitely. And I said, yeah, I have the private group. And yes, I do get a few from there. But these are people, like when you talk to us, they're people that you know want to do it, and they've searched you out. It's not going and running and trying to get somebody to be like, hey, you want to take pictures? Hey. No, they want you.
Yeah.
So it's different.
That's awesome. I feel like that's such freedom as a photographer, because we didn't necessarily start our photography business in order to go out and chase people. You know, we wanted to actually shoot and to be able to have inquiries that are coming in to you and people that are very targeted. I feel like it's such a sense of freedom in your business, because then you can focus on what you love doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
For sure. So last question, I really appreciate you joining us today. If you could give yourself 1 year ago, like your 1-year-old self, not 1-year-old self, but old self about a year ago, one piece of advice, what would you say to her?
Take the leap. Just take the leap. I probably could have done it so long ago, but in my head, I was very scared. So I didn't take the leap. I stayed where I was comfortable, and I knew that that full-time job was a comfortable level where I knew I would constantly make the money. But when I took the jump and you had to make the money to live, it made like a whole nother ball game for me. And it was like, it's coming natural now, whereas before the fear ran everything. So having myself up there on Google and getting everything in is so much easier. So just taking the class and taking that jump with you.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, like I was so afraid. I probably watched you for like 6 months before I took the jump.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Wait, why didn't I freaking do this 6 months ago?
Yeah, why didn't you? What was holding you back?
Oh,
Huh?
I don't know. But yes, that is a regret for me. I probably should have done it in the beginning, but people are nervous and they want to learn more, and I'm one of those people. So
No, for
taking
sure.
the jump, definitely. So
I think that everything happens in the right timing. I don't think there's any regrets like in life. I think that everything happens as it should, but definitely like looking back and thinking, wow, you know, definitely fear was holding me back, and identifying that, you know, so that you can grow from it, I think is amazing. Someone was asking, when did you take your leap? I'm trying to understand your timeline. So let's see. When did we start working together?
I took 2 leaps. So one was finally stepping down as being a manager, and I did that last September. And then
cut out a little bit.
last September was the first jump to going from being a manager and working crazy hours to stepping down there. Lie yourself was a second jump to the point where you need to spend money to make money. And my husband will say that to the end of days. He's had a business. He knows how that goes. So spend the money, and believe me, you're going to make the money back tenfold. And I would pay for your class over and over again. So anybody who's thinking about it, I kid you not, Law's not paying me. I would pay her all over again. I'd have no problem at all.
Yeah, awesome. I think it's into, you know, finding someone you resonate with, and finding, I think you can buy the tools, but unless you are driven and you're ready to put in the work and you're ready to put yourself on the line, it definitely isn't the right timing until that. And it sounds like it was the right timing for you. You had stepped down from your job and you had a commitment to making it work. And that was really so having that commitment is important, because I can teach you all the systems and give you all the tools and all the pieces to the puzzle, but I can't guarantee success. That is 100% all you. So where you're at right now is 100% all you, in the sense that you took the initiative and you actually implemented the pieces to the puzzle, and you're doing the hard work. So I am so proud of you, and I'm so excited for you. I'm getting goosebumps right now. And excited, humbled, honored to be on this journey with you, and I can't wait to see what's to come, because I know that there is no ceiling for you. So
hopefully.
So I appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions for Ashley before we hop off of here? Awesome. Well, you guys have a great day. Thank you, Ashley, so much for joining us. Hopefully it wasn't too nerve-wracking.
No, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, awesome. All right, everybody have a great Wednesday. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.